All right, today we're going to tackle one of the biggest buzzwords in tech, machine learning. We're going to break it all down into really simple, practical pieces. And I promise, by the end of this, you'll totally get how it works. And you'll realize you're already using it like all the time. So let's jump right in. Look, if you've ever felt that machine learning is just way too complex, you are definitely not alone. But here's the thing. The main idea behind it is actually pretty simple. And we're going to figure it out together just using one single story that makes sense. No crazy jargon, I promise. Just a straightforward way to finally get it. Okay, so before we even get into what it is, let's start with a much more important question. Why? I mean, why do we even need machines to learn things for us in the first place? What's the point? All right, let's bring this down to earth with a real-world problem. So imagine you want to plan that dream trip to Paris. The big question seems simple enough, right? How much money do you actually need to save? Well, as you're about to see, finding the answer is anything but simple. Yeah, because the real cost of that trip isn't just one single number. It's a moving target. It depends on so many things. You've got flight prices that literally change by the minute, hotel rates, what time of year you go, how long you stay, and that's not even counting your own personal spending habits or what you've spent on trips before. That is a ton of information to juggle. And that, right there, that is the whole reason we need machines to learn. You and I, we can't just calculate an accurate budget by trying to keep all that information in our heads. It's impossible. So we need a machine to look at all those little patterns in the data and just make a really good prediction for us. Okay, so that's the why. We get it. Now let's finally tackle the what. What in the world is machine learning? You know, sometimes the easiest way to figure out what something is to first look at what it isn't. So think about a simple calculator, right? You give it a very specific command like add 2 plus 2, and boom, it gives you the answer. It just follows instructions. A machine learning model, though, it's totally different. You don't give it instructions, you give it data. And its whole job is to find the patterns hidden inside that data all by itself. And that's exactly why a calculator can't guess your holiday cost, but a machine learning model absolutely can. So, now that we have that idea in our heads, this fancy official definition should make a whole lot more sense. Machine learning is all about computer programs, algorithms, that get better on their own just by looking at data, so they can make predictions or decisions without a person having to write code for every single little thing. Awesome. So now we know the what and the why. Let's get a little more hands-on and actually look at the essential parts, the building blocks that make the whole thing tick. So it turns out every single machine learning model, I don't care how complicated it seems, it all boils down to these three core things. You need a data set, you need features from that data, and you need an algorithm. Let's quickly break down each one.
First up, you've got the data set. And really, this is just the giant pile of information you feed the machine so it can learn. A perfect example is your email's spam filter. Every single time you mark an email as spam, you're actually adding to its data set. You're teaching it, hey, this is what junk mail looks like. And the rule is simple. The more data it has, the smarter it gets.
Okay, next up, features. So what are features? They're just the specific, individual details inside the data that the machine is told to pay attention to. So if we go back to our Paris trip, the features would be things like which airline you're flying, exactly how many days you're staying, or the flight route. Think of them like the key ingredients the machine needs to make its recipe. And finally, we have the algorithm. This is really the engine of the whole operation. It's the recipe, the set of instructions that takes all that data and all those features and then gets to work finding the patterns to make a prediction. You know how you search for a holiday package once and then suddenly you see ads for it everywhere? Yep, that's an algorithm doing its thing, using your data to predict what you're likely to buy. Okay, so you've definitely heard other terms thrown around, right? Like AI and deep learning. It is super easy to get them all mixed up, so let's take a quick second to clear that up and see how they all fit together. Honestly, the best way to think about this is like one of those Russian nesting dolls. So artificial intelligence, AI, that's the biggest doll. It's the whole broad idea of making machines smart. Then you open it up, and inside you find machine learning. It's a part of AI, a specific way to make machines smart. And then you open that doll, and inside you find deep learning, which is an even more specific, powerful type of machine learning. So it turns out not all machine learning is created equal. There are actually a few different ways or styles of how a machine can learn, and they pretty much all fall into three main buckets. Let's take a quick look. All right, first up is supervised learning. This is where you give the machine data that's already labeled, kind of like a cheat sheet. Our spam filter is a perfect example because it learns from emails we've already told it are spam or not spam. Then you've got unsupervised learning. This is where you just give it a bunch of data and it has to find the patterns all on its own, like when your phone automatically groups all the pictures of your best friend together. And finally, there's reinforcement learning. This is really cool. It's where the machine learns by trial and error, kind of like a video game. It gets rewards for good moves and penalties for bad ones, like an AI figuring out how to manage traffic lights to make things flow better. Okay, so we've covered the why, the what, and the how. And all of this brings us to what I think is the most important point of all. This stuff isn't some far-off, futuristic idea. Nope, it is already a massive part of your everyday life. Just think about this for a second. You pull up Google Maps to drive home. It shows you all the red lines for traffic, and it gives you a super precise arrival time. I mean, how does it know that? Well, it's analyzing massive amounts of traffic data, both right now and from the past. It's finding patterns, and it's making a prediction. Does that sound a little familiar? Yep, that's machine learning. It's not magic, it's just finding patterns on a crazy huge scale. From predicting your ETA on Google Maps to Netflix recommending your next favorite show, you are literally using it and relying on it every single day. So really, the big question isn't what machine learning is anymore, it's what's it going to learn to do for us next?